Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Ball. The segment is brought to you by Red IQ. Check it out. They kind of magically take spreadsheets and convert it to analytics that you can use, and it does it very quickly for multifamily properties. It's rediq.com. Well, today we're talking about retail real estate, and retail in general. Please welcome my next guest, is Stephanie Cegielski, and she is with ICSC, International Council of Shopping Centers, and she's joining us on Skype. Stephanie, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Stephanie, one thing that everyone is aware of and conscious of today is the effect of online sales and what that's kind of done to brick and mortar. And it certainly brought some changes to the brick and mortar retail real estate world. But tell us about what you guys refer to as the halo effect.
Well, the halo effect was part of a report we released last year that said that when a store opens in a market, they see a 37% increase to their web traffic in that market. So having a physical presence drives traffic to the website. We also found that vice versa, if they close a store in the market, they experience a decrease in web traffic in that market. So you can see the synergy between online and physical is actually much more significant than most people think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it could be showroom, it could be go into order online, it could be kind of just presence and advertising and sort of top of mind, right?
Absolutely, and it's very much, it brings brand awareness to consumers. The cost of customer acquisition is expensive, so we're seeing more of these digitally native retailers opening brick and mortar locations, and part of that is because of this effect, because it drives that awareness and brand loyalty that people seek and want. So it's a less expensive way to acquire customers.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. And so I want to ask you about student, spending for students going into the fall. Here we are in the summer of 19. I guess the next spending season, right, is back to school shopping. What do you guys expect?
We will be releasing our results in the next couple of weeks. Deloitte released theirs this morning, saying they expect spending to be flat, but not decrease year over year, which is fine. It's some of that may be due to shifting demographics and fewer children in schools. But overall, it looks to be a strong back to school season. The great thing about back to school is it doesn't just touch one segment of the market. It's books, it's binders, it's clothes, it's shoes. So all retailers really benefit from the back to school season. Yeah,
it makes sense. I think other than Christmas, if I think about my own spending, having children that went through school and now one's finished college and about to finish, I think I do a little spending at that time of year too.
Yeah. I have one moving into an apartment for her sophomore year in college and one going into his junior year of high school. So the spending is very different, but it's significant.
Yeah. Now, retail, as we mentioned, has changed a lot and continues to morph into kind of the new retail of today. And you guys just had the largest conference on retail real estate in the world at Recon, which is in Vegas. So I was wondering, what was really popular out there? Any kind of changes in what you see in popularity?
Absolutely. So we actually had a few new destinations this year. One was emerging brands, who are those online-only brands going to physical locations. Your typical pop-up shops that we're seeing that consumers love, and health and wellness, which is becoming significant. And that's not just the medical field, that is truly fitness as well. So we saw great interest in all of those. We particularly saw strong interest in health and wellness, especially as it related to the cannabis industry, which is becoming a prominent part of the country at this moment at the state level.
Yeah, and I guess since you're like the TV people, when they kind of throw it back to the anchor, so when you throw it back to me, you could say, ear. No, I'm just kidding. We shouldn't go there, right? I've just seen that on television, so that figure that's what they do. Let's talk about collecting online sales tax. How has that impacted? Are the states really collecting online sales tax now, and is it having an effect yet?
Absolutely. So June 23rd was the one-year anniversary since the Supreme Court ruled on the Wayfair v. South Dakota case, which said that a physical nexus was created by an online sales, by online sales. So what we have seen is 43 of the 45 states that collect sales tax have put in some sort of legislation or regulation or reworked what they previously had to begin collecting those sales taxes. And there has been a significant increase in the sales taxes collected. The nice thing is that we're seeing the opponents argued that this would be a burden on the small online sellers. And what states have done is they have set up minimums. So whether that's a minimum number of transactions or a minimum number of sales that should take place in that state is what triggers the collection of that sales tax by the retailer. And it's important to note that sales tax was legally due anyway. Most consumers don't submit it. I don't submit it, but it is legally due. So this just actually puts the onus on the retailer to collect it and remit that tax. So we have seen great progress. States or cities like Philadelphia are reporting significant increases in those collections, which is wonderful because that goes to necessary services like emergency services in schools.
Is any of the brick and mortar retailers or maybe the retailers who do both online and brick and mortar, are any reporting yet that that's increased their brick and mortar sales?
Not that I have seen. So, we'll wait and see. We're just a year into it. A lot of the regulations have either went into effect the first of this year or actually go into effect later this year or the first of next year. So the next 12 months will be really critical to see what's going to transpire between the two.
Okay. And Stephanie, when you talk to retailers and you talk to retail property owners and those of us in the retail business, what are some of the concerns that you most hear about today? Or are we concerned about tariffs? Are we concerned about the cycle where we are in the economy? What do you hear from folks that maybe is on their mind as a potential concern?
I think there's always concerns. Tariffs are definitely weighing heavily on retailers' minds. That's significant. That's a cost that ultimately gets passed on to the consumer. The economy is always a concern, although even as we see some indications that maybe it's starting to slow and the Fed making moves to possibly cut rates, it remains a strong economy with low unemployment, which is good. And so you're also seeing, again, this from a real estate perspective, this diversification of tenant mix. So you're seeing the food and beverage, you're seeing smaller shops, you're seeing more experience, which, kind of recession-proofs their property. But, definitely there's a close eye on what's going on in Washington and what that means for the future.
Yeah. One thing I seem to see in a lot of centers is a lot of food courts and a lot of restaurants in a lot of these properties. Are you hearing any concern out there that are we building too many restaurants in some of these places?
I don't think so. There's a strong demand. Millennials really want experience, and so that's part of it is the dining aspect. Baby boomers are empty nesters and may not want to cook, and so we're seeing them eat out more. I think you're just seeing more selection in those food choices, which is good. It's not just the same restaurant being built over and over again. And the F&B sector has added over 1 million jobs in the last 3 years. So we've seen that growth. And I think we'll continue to see consumers wanting that experience and that F&B component for some time to come.
Okay. And Stephanie, to finish this up here, what can we look forward to from ICSC moving forward or in the retail world in general or from you guys?
Sure. We are currently working on back to school. We're looking ahead to the holidays. It's that time of the year. It's July. But mostly July 23rd, we will be releasing the second portion of our Halo studies. So last year, as I mentioned, we looked at web traffic. This year, we're looking at actual spending. So we took a look at over 30 million transactions and deduced down what that translates into spending. So we looked at when somebody makes an online purchase, do they spend in store within 2 weeks, and what is that dollar figure? And vice versa, if they go into a store, do they then go online within 2 weeks and spend additional money? So it's a very positive result. We're very pleased with it, and that will be coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, that's excellent. And you have the big Southeastern convention for ICSC coming up in Atlanta too, right, this fall?
We have a number of events coming up. Fall is very busy. We've got our Western Conference in Los Angeles. We've got Southeastern. We've got Florida. And then, ultimately, first week in December, we have New York Dealmaking here in New York.
Awesome. Well, a lot to look forward to. Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Great information.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us. And stay tuned. We're going to have more on retail and retail real estate. I'm Michael Bull. This is America's Commercial Real Estate Show. Stay with us. America's Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty. For customized asset and occupancy solutions, visit bullrealty.com. Commercial Agent Success Strategies. Incredible training for commercial agents. Visit commercialagentsuccess.com. Red IQ. Turning multifamily data into actionable intelligence. Visit rediq.com.